Have you ever noticed that some people seem to test you without ever admitting it? A friend asks for a favor when they know you're busy. Someone makes a small disrespectful joke and watches your reaction. A person suddenly becomes distant just to see whether you'll chase them. At first, these moments can seem random, but sometimes they're revealing something important about how people judge your confidence, boundaries, and emotional stability. Human beings constantly observe one another. We pay attention to what people tolerate, how they react under pressure, and whether their words match their actions. Most of these tests aren't planned or malicious. They're often unconscious, but the way you respond can shape how people treat you afterward. Imagine meeting someone new. Everything starts well. They are friendly, interested, and respectful. Then one evening, they cancel plans at the last minute. You immediately send several messages asking what happened. They apologize, and you quickly forgive them. A few days later, they do something similar again. Eventually, the pattern becomes normal. The important part isn't the canceled plan, it's what happened afterward. Your reaction taught them what you were willing to accept. People learn your boundaries through experience. This doesn't mean you should become suspicious of everyone. It means you should pay attention to patterns instead of isolated incidents. One common social test involves disrespect disguised as humor. Someone makes a joke about your appearance, intelligence, job, or relationship. Everyone laughs, but you notice the joke feels slightly different from ordinary teasing. Then the person watches your reaction. What happens next matters. If you become furious, they can say, "Relax, it was just a joke." If you laugh along even though you're uncomfortable, they may assume the behavior is acceptable. But if you calmly say, "I don't appreciate jokes like that," you've communicated something powerful without creating unnecessary drama. Confidence doesn't require aggression. Then there's the test of emotional reaction. Some people discover exactly which buttons make you angry. Once they know, they can push them whenever they want. Maybe someone knows you hate being ignored, so they deliberately disappear whenever they're upset. Maybe a coworker knows criticism makes you defensive, so they provoke you during disagreements. If they can predict your reaction, they can influence you. That's why emotional control is so powerful. When someone tries to provoke you, don't immediately give them the reaction they're expecting. Pause, breathe, ask yourself what outcome you actually want. Sometimes the strongest response is no response at all. There's also a test that happens in relationships, how much attention you need. Someone may take longer to reply and quietly observe what you do. Do you stay calm and continue your day, or do you send 5 messages asking whether they're upset? Again, don't automatically assume they're manipulating you. People get busy, phones die, life happens. But if someone repeatedly creates distance, specifically to make you anxious, that's different. Your job isn't to chase them until they give you reassurance. Your job is to observe the pattern and decide whether the relationship is healthy. One of the biggest mistakes people make is trying too hard to prove their value. They become extra helpful, extra available, extra agreeable, hoping someone will finally appreciate them. But self-respect works differently. You don't prove your worth by tolerating everything. You demonstrate it by knowing what you're willing to accept and what you're not. This is why boundaries are so important. A boundary isn't a threat. It isn't "do what I want or I'll leave." It's simply, this is what I'm comfortable with, and this is what I'm not. And the most important part is consistency. If you tell someone you won't tolerate disrespect but continue accepting it every time, the boundary means nothing. Your actions teach people how seriously to take your words. But there's another side to all of this. You don't need to pass every test perfectly. You're human. You'll sometimes react emotionally. You'll sometimes say yes when you should have said no. You'll sometimes tolerate something longer than you should have. That's okay. Self-awareness means noticing the mistake and changing the pattern. The next time you feel like someone is testing your limits, don't immediately become defensive. Slow down and ask 3 questions. What exactly happened? Is this a one-time mistake or a repeated pattern? And what does my response teach this person about how I expect to be treated? Those questions can save you from both extremes, being too trusting and becoming unnecessarily suspicious. That kind of calm consistency is what makes real confidence visible, even when you never say a word about it. At the end of the day, confidence isn't about making everyone respect you. You can't control that. Confidence is knowing that if someone doesn't respect your boundaries, you have the courage to respond appropriately. You simply need to remain calm, communicate clearly, and be willing to walk away when a pattern becomes unhealthy. The people who genuinely value you won't need to be forced into respecting you. They'll notice your boundaries, understand your standards, and meet you with the same level of respect. And when someone repeatedly tests your patience, your kindness, or your self-respect, remember this: the test isn't really about them. It's about whether you'll choose yourself. If this video made you think about a situation in your own life, tell us in the comments. Have you ever realized someone was testing your boundaries? Leave a like if you found value in today's lesson, subscribe to Inspire to Be You, and join us for more psychology and self-improvement videos about confidence, relationships, emotional intelligence, and understanding human behavior.